welcome to season 2 of the Heatcast with myself, Seán Ryan. Joined with me on the show is one of the best producers in Kerry right now. Man, this guy is hot. You know, Ayo, did you see that?
What's up?
So like, where did the name kind of come from? Because like, obviously the tag is just so catchy and stuff like that. But where did the name come from?
The name came from it's actually my initials. So my initials, if you include my middle name, is CDR. And the CR didn't work, but the CD was quite nice. And I was kind of thinking about it for a while, and I was like, CDat, and I just kind of got stuck on CDat. And then before I even started producing, like this is before I started making music. Before I started producing, I knew my producer tag was going to be, "Hey, oh, did you see that?" or some variation of that, because CDat, just the CDat thing worked way too well to not use it. And it was only up. I didn't end up getting it made. I didn't get the tag until early 2020. I think around April. So for like the first 2 years of producing, I had my name. I knew what my tag wanted to be, and I didn't know it. I didn't get it, but I got it eventually.
It's pretty sweet. Like, and it's so catchy. It's so good in that sense. Like, you're a producer, of course. But why did you kind of choose why did you choose producing to kind of make your music? Have you ever thought of like actually rapping on your beats and stuff like that, or has it ever came to mind?
I have, but they're never going to see the light of day. I only got into music. I didn't get into hip hop until like I started making music. Really, I wasn't a big music person in general, and it was only around 2018, like the kind of getting up towards the summer of 2018. I was watching people on YouTube produce, and I got into it. I was watching like KBZ or like Sharp or like the Internet Money tutorials. And I was watching them, and like in my head, I was like, I could do that. I could do that better than they can. And I found out very quickly, no, I could not. But ever since then, I just got stuck in the producing and loving the kind of the really just getting like in like behind the scenes and kind of breaking down big songs and figuring out just how simple stuff can be. Just the crazy thing for me was how you listen to something, you think it probably took weeks of work, and it's 20 minutes for some like 17-year-old in their bedroom.
I like, you're very talented producer and stuff like that. You've worked with LG4 Trey, you've worked with Donald Greenwood, you've worked with Cormac Butler, who's been on the show just only a couple of weeks back. And you've created some amazing beats and stuff like that. Do you find it hard to kind of come up with concepts and stuff like that for making beats, or do you find it like, yeah, 30 minutes straight away got a beat, or is it like some of those beats are like, yeah, they're thrown in the trash or thrown in the back work?
My beat making process is very like factory, like it's very robotic, and I don't make my own melodies because I know people are like, that's like a fake producer, but I get other producers, other loop makers to send me loops. Super talented people. Like I know my boy Magnolia, Yizo, just super talented people. And I'll work on those. So usually it's whatever vibe those have, I'll work on that. But they're usually just like 20-30 minutes in and out. But my whole idea, like, it sounds bad, but like quantity is a massive thing. And people, and I know other producers, younger producers, sometimes don't realize that. People starting out, they think that you need to make like the best beat right now, and that you need to be like the next Kanye West with like one of the best 5-minute compositions of your life. But the truth behind it is, like, I spend 20 minutes on a beat, and I might learn something from that beat, and then I use that in the next beat and the next beat and the next beat until I have this technique mastered that I might be something that I listen to in a song, and I learned this like this kind of trick, and I work it into a beat, spend 20 minutes on it, and just go again and again and again until I add these kind of like tools into our repertoire. And I use these things at different points. So it's totally just like what would have taken me 3 hours at the start can take me 10-15 minutes now, because it's just that quantity and that getting used to it and that running through the motions and getting that same style, that same kind of idea, depending on what you're making.
No, for sure. And like, it shows how good you are at making those beats, just from listening and stuff like that. Where's kind of the best place to kind of get samples for someone who's kind of starting off in producing? Like, where is like the go-to place to kind of get like some fresh, like nice sounding samples for a beat?
If you're looking for melodies, then Looperman is a brilliant website. Looperman has a bunch of royalty-free loops. Some of the there's some major songs up there, like a load of Polo G songs are from this one dude called Minor to Go. He's a dude who posted up there, all royalty-free piano samples, and like major songs. But other than that, it's just networking and talking to other producers. If you like their loops, quite a lot of producers are just going to give them to you because if you're nice, if you can flip them around nice, if you have opportunities, they'll give them to you. Or you can buy them online. If you depend, again, I usually buy them off people I like. If I'm buying them, I'd like to support producers who I personally think are good people. But then if you're looking for drum sounds, you could buy them, or there's always r/drum kits on Reddit always has some dude who's after compiling the next best like drum thing for free. Drums are never the issue. It's always the melodies.
That's fair enough. And what DAW do you use then to making beats? Is it FL Studio? Is it Pro Tools, or what is it? GarageBand?
Yeah, I use FL Studio. I've been using FL Studio since the start. I've never used anything else.
Like it's just FL Studio that you use for vocals and everything.
Yeah, well, I don't do vocals myself, but it's just vocals for me. Sorry, no, it's just FL for me.
Okay.
I only do the production. I haven't done any kind of vocals. Well, except there's one time you mentioned Cormac Butler. Cormac Butler was down at my place, and there's one time that we tried to record, and it was a nightmare. But because I couldn't get him to concentrate. But other than that, it's just been FL the whole way.
Well, that's fair enough. Like I find that even trying to record vocals on here through FL Studio, it just in my head doesn't work. The method, even though I've looked up YouTube tutorials and stuff like that, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe I'm just not good at it. But I normally use Dub Edition is what I use for it because it's probably the bog standard for radio, and obviously I have expertise in radio. So like that's the way I kind of do it and stuff like that. But it's cool to see that like you are solely based on FL Studio and stuff like that, and you've built your talents on that. And it's great to see, that you have that capability, because obviously FL Studio is kind of the big one now these days for making beats, especially. Obviously, the scene is always for rap, especially. You go back to the 1970s, you go back to kind of the Tupac era and Biggie Smalls and stuff like that. Like beef was a kind of a big thing. But do you think beef is good between artists to kind of get stuff out there, or do you think it's like, nah, that's not what it should be like nowadays?
Oh, it really depends on who you are. It depends on what you're making, who you are, and like what your goal is. Like if you're like a smaller artist, beef is never going to work out for you, because that's just, you need that sense of community. You're not going to drive publicity with that, because that's beef. The only reason for it in a music success kind of stance would be publicity, or that kind of that extra name, that extra traction. But so in top level stuff, like if you're looking at like 6ix9ine, the king of that kind of stuff, driving controversy to try and drive up your own numbers, it works there because you have the name. You don't need those people around you. But if you're a smaller artist, you need to just be you need to garner that sense of community first before you even think about disliking people.
That's a fair enough point. You kind of have to make it, I suppose, is what you're kind of saying. It's like you have to kind of get a bit of respect from people, a bit of music out there that's not all about kind of trash talk and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Do you, like obviously COVID's affected the scene and stuff like that at the moment, and there is the clubs and pubs aren't open at the moment to do a few gigs and stuff like that. And obviously being a producer, do you think down the line for yourself you like do performances on stage like as a DJ, or do you think that's not your thing?
No, I'm happy out sitting here. COVID honestly was the best thing to ever happen to me. Being able to just sit here, have an excuse to work all day. But I went from when it hit, I was making like I think about 5 or 6 beats a week, maybe landing a song every couple of weeks, to making a steady 200 a month. Close to upwards of 200 a month usually, and getting songs back pretty much every day, just constantly working. So I'm happy out sitting behind here for now. I'd love to be on stage in the kind of sense of like without a purpose, you know what I mean? Hype man, I'll do that. I'll yeah, like do you hear that beat? That's me, like that's what I'll do. But actual work, my work is done.
That's fair enough. Like and it's great to see that like that's your kind of set, like you know that you're setting that your ways, like, and maybe down the line there might be you might change your mind and say, maybe I want to be on stage. Maybe I just want to have that little bit extra publicity. But it's great to see that like it's you're focused on what you're doing now, and that, you know, obviously COVID has affected the scene, but like we're not too sure when those opportunities will arise, and that you're not working towards those opportunities because they mightn't come for another year. Like fingers crossed it doesn't happen, but like it could possibly. So it's great to see that you are focused and you're like, this is where I need to be, and this is where I'm going to make my moolah and all that stuff. So it's great to see that you have such a good focus and stuff like that. You've worked with a lot of artists. You know, you told me that you worked with D&D, you worked with The Holiday, you worked with Fresco Trey, you know, some Irish artists then, like as I said, LG4 Trey, you got Pax, you got Where's Will, you got Ness as well. But who do you think is going to drop heat in 21?
I know me and Cormac have got stuff coming. Like I know we always have stuff coming. Whether actually no, we've had one that we've been sitting on for ages that we all everybody, there's 4 of us, we all collectively forgot about it until a text came in from Cormac going, what happened to that? And I know there's one song, I'm gonna drop the name, it's called 999, and when that drops, there's a couple of features on it, it's heat. But Trey's been killing it. I've heard pretty much all the Trey songs. He constantly shows them to me. I know he's scared of me actually. Like he calls me up to show me whatever he's worked on. I'm not on his project, but like he'll always call me up to be like, what do you think of this? And I'm the most upfront person when it comes to that. Like I will, do you know By My Side?
Yeah.
There's one line that I made him re-record it, I think like 7 or 8 times because I didn't like it. I will just be like constantly at it. I know Trey's got good stuff. Ness is insane. I that man has never missed. And then on the American, like I know Pax and Will just because you mentioned them. They all Pax is actually ridiculously talented. We have probably one of my favorite songs on the way. And then Will, we also have a really good song on the way. They're like those artists alone, just they are like just talented. Them, I would not be able to put them apart because they all do their own different thing, and they all do it really well. And then on the American side of things, Fresco Trey he's going to be a household name soon. I can tell you that much. The Holiday, just from some of the stuff that I've heard, some of the unreleased stuff that I've heard, he's once he gets to dropping properly, he'll be good. He'll be set. The American side is looking really good from the people that I've seen, but the Irish side, like just from the people I've worked with and from the people I talk to, just some of the stuff that I've heard that hasn't dropped yet is insane.
I'm looking forward to it because, like, obviously, as I said, you're a talented producer, and these kind of artists that you've already worked with are, you know, along the same lines of what you kind of make, in terms of beats and stuff like that. And I think, like, you know, whoever works with you this year or who has already worked with you this year, and that this release comes out whenever it does, is going to be amazing. Like, it's going to be the best thing coming. Like obviously you're a producer, stuff like that, and you've been doing it for about 2 years now, if I'm mistaken.
About 2.5 years.
What would you give to advice to someone who's starting off who wants to become a producer? What would be the first thing to tell them to do?
You are going to be bad when you start off, and that is just a fact. There's you know, not everybody could be a Murder Beats and start landing Migos places in 6 months. But it's absolutely just the quantity. It's to just sit down and work, and networking is massive, and I think that's something people gloss over. There are amazing producers who are doing worse than me, and there's producers who are worse than me who are doing way better than me talent wise, and it's that networking that sets everybody apart. Being able, you know, the best beat in the world doesn't mean anything if it just sits on your computer all day. You need to be able to get that stuff out. You need to be able to get artists, get other producers, get managers, get whoever. I have a video director in Cincinnati, shout out Lee John Jr., who he plays my stuff for everyone who comes around, and it's those kind of connections that you need to get your stuff out. But it's a networking and just constantly working, improving, listening to music, hearing something cool and going, how can I do that? And working that in and figuring out ways to just, I don't want to say steal, but like take what other people can do, mold it, and then put your twist in it, and just constantly have that cycle of just hear it, figure it out, and use it yourself, and just constantly be evolving the whole time.
I think that's some good advice for some young producers that might be starting off, that've been listening to a little bit of Travis Scott or a little bit of Playboy Cardi as they're kind of bopping at the moment. So I think, I think that's a great idea. And like it is kind of a bit robust in the sense of doing it, but like I think it, for anyone who's kind of starting off, it's going to help out in the long run of things. We're going to head over to Instagram because we got a bunch of questions to get through. And I'm looking forward to some of these because these are going to work your brain. So this first one comes from Mike the Martian from Donegal. Producers that inspired you to start.
Producers that inspired me to start. In terms of starting, I can just say right off Nick Mira, just how young he was when he made Lucid Dreams, and just be able to look at somebody and go, there's no kind of when I saw Nick Mira make Lucid Dreams and make those hits, it was just one of those times of like, you don't need a degree, you don't need an incredible setup, you don't need to be in a studio, you can be in your bedroom and do this. And that was one of the things that really was kind of like, not a kick up the arse, but you know what I mean, like that like, oh, I can do that. Nick Mira, definitely KBZ and Sharp and all those internet money guys in terms of just teaching me, in terms of like me learning from them. But it was the production on like Kev Rogers, Kenneth Muse, on Mir Fontaine's albums, on stuff like Who's Watching the Kids in Camden, was a massive influence on me. Just to be able to listen to that and just, I didn't even learn too much, but it was just gave me an appreciation for it. And having that appreciation was like the first step.
Yeah, no, it's great to see that, I'm gonna just keep saying it through the interview and not really notice it, but like it's great to see that did it again, that so many different influences for you to become the producer you are today, and I think people will take some inspiration from that and say, look, these people that you mentioned are what I need to be looking up to, because CDat's doing that stuff right now and he's saying it works really well, so I might look into them myself. This one comes from I'm Actually Friday. What's your thoughts on the Pierre Bourne wave of beat making?
I've never been a massive Pierre Bourne fan. I love what he does, but I would never be a, like, I'm gonna sit down and enjoy and like it would be all I make, because I'm not as into that style, especially with the Kerry's new stuff. I'm more into the rage and the kind of grittier side of things. I like that kind of punk side of stuff, that very kind of, it doesn't matter if it's messy as long as it gets the point across. But Pierre was massively influential, especially that 2018, 2019 era, or was it 2017? Whenever like you had Magnolia and all that kind of stuff drop.
Yeah,
and whenever you would hear that, yo, Pierre, you want to come out here? The second you heard that, it was different. Or even now his new tag, whatever it is, just the Pierre. He has that very he has that style. It's a very distinct style, and it's one thing I drew a lot of inspiration from was the minimalism of it. That was how simple it was. And he's like, the big thing you can take away from Pierre is just that the most important instrument in any beat is the artist, and you can't control that, and you have to just give them the platform to go off of that. His beats are so simple that it boils down to the artist to meld everything together.
That's it's a great point to have, like, and I know different people have different points on Pierre, and that he's the same old in terms of his albums and stuff like that, it's the same. But like, as you said, it's all down to the artist when it comes to his types of beats. Like, can you make it gel together? Like, I'd be a decent fan. I think like during the summer I've listened to, I think, a few of his albums. I've just been through them.
Oh yeah.
While I was down in your direction, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just stuck in my head. Like, I'd just be in work and I'll just throw on the earphones and be like, all right, listen to this, it's class. This next one comes from, I'm not going to actually name who it is. I'm going to ask you afterwards who you think it is. But I'll tell you a little guess or a little help is that we've mentioned their name along the way today.
Okay.
So how is your brain so big? I don't even know if that's even a question, but how is
your brain so big? Man, I just ate my vegetables. It was just, I just got that far. I'd love to be able to tell you who asked that, but there's so many people who could ask that. No, I was just born this way, I guess.
Talented. Do you
Yeah.
have a little guess of who it might be?
Oh,
As I said,
man.
we've mentioned him before on the show.
It would either be like, I don't want to. I know it could definitely be like 5 or 6 people. It could be like, it would definitely be. Oh, actually, it would be like Cormac or like Pax or someone like that. Just somebody who just messes with me on Snapchat all the time.
It was Ness who sent that one.
Ness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
no,
for Ness.
Ness doesn't talk to me enough to be able to figure it out. He always, you know, a conversation with Ness end quickly. It's always like done, sorted, bye, and that's it.
So this next one actually comes from Cormac Butler. He asks who your top 5 Irish artists are.
Oh Jesus, I only have like 6. So like I don't listen to very many Irish artists. I'm being honest with you. Like there's very few that I listen to outside of the ones that I work with, because I'm a bold boy and I don't listen to the community as much as I should have. But I would honestly, I'm not even in no order. It's like Trey, Ness, Donal, Cormac, Pax, and Will, and I know that's 6, but like they're just the first 6 that come to my mind without hesitation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great that you can't even summarize them, because I think all 6 of them are very talented in their own ways. You mentioned earlier on, like, and it's great to see, really. This one comes from Beats by Wooga. Is what's your go-to plugin for melodies? Which obviously we know now is that it's all samples, is it?
Yeah, I don't use them, but I do. However, I do sometimes add to them, and when I do, I'm using Serum. But that's because I prefer my kind of close to like future bass almost synths. So I'd be using Serum if I was using anything.
Fair enough. This one comes from Stephen. What made you start music?
It was coming across the videos on YouTube. It was those tutorial videos, watching these producers who, like, as I've learned over time, were doing like stuff that was very simple. But I was just watching them, and it was honestly competition to me. It was just, I can do that better than they can. That looks easy, and I always look like it's an insult, and I just got to work, and ever since then it's just been that drive of like, my main goal when I wake up in a day is to end the day better than I started it. So I want to wake up and I want to have accomplished something by the time I go to bed. And if I haven't done that, then the next day I got to do something the next day. And it's just that constant drive for like, I have 24 hours, I'm going to use them. So it started off as the competition, and now it's just that drive to just something different each day, something better, something better, something better.
Yeah, I think even anyone who's watching just that, like, even snippet on YouTube or even listening to it on Spotify later on, like, I know they'll be like inspired, like how your work ethic is, like you are very well driven in your sense of like, you just gotta do it. Like, it's, there's not even anything you can think of that would sidetrack you. It just seems like you're just focused on it, and it's great to see. This last one from Instagram, I'm not going to mention who it is on this one as well, but I'd say you can guess this one. I know you're going to get the second one right. So the 2 hottest rappers coming out of Donegal right now.
That's a hard one now. Do I have to rank them, or are they just saying, like, do I have to put them in order, or?
It wasn't mentioned there, but
so there's no order. No, I won't order them now, because that'll just upset them. I'd have to say probably Will and Pax, but like they're barely hanging in there. Pax isn't as good as he was in his old days. But maybe he'll get it back. Ever since he dyed the hair, he's just been a different person.
Do you want to guess who that was?
You cannot tell me they are the same person. Will and Pax are the same person. That feels like a Will comment, but they are the same person to me at this stage.
It was from Pax, by the way. So.
Oh my God. I actually swear to now I'm gonna get an angry message from him tonight saying, Caleb, I swear to God, no. You didn't get that. I'm never dropping our song.
Too wrong. But sure, look, we'll go back to my questions. You can always guess who got those or say those questions to you. So, what do you think is kind of missing from? Obviously, COVID is a big influence, but what do you think is missing from the scene now in the Irish scene?
That proper sense of community that you get in some of the US groups that I've worked with. Like you have like LG4 and stuff, but even like when I work with the US artists, it's one thing that I always. They're always working together. There's always this group of people that they do this together. They do this together. Whereas in Ireland, it's kind of like, Yeah, we collaborate sometimes. We make songs together sometimes, but everybody kind of does their own thing, which is fine. But once you have that strong sense of community and you can all build together, it's just not as prevalent as it should be in Ireland, especially for a community like ours, where I could have run into some fella up the country and he might as well be my best friend the way I'm going to talk to him, and we can't do that. We can't do that the same in the rap scene.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, do you think like even, the diversity of like Ireland as well, like a lot of it's countryside and a lot of it, or the other bit is the city side. Do you think that has that influence in terms of travel and stuff? Or do you think, no, it's not really that big of an issue?
No, actually, because I would have said yes until I met Will. Where's Will and Pax? And they live in the absolute backyards of Donegal. Like you would not be able, like I have seen out there. They have shown me out their windows, and you might see a house somewhere down in a field. And then you listen to Will's music, and you would not be able to place him. You would not say he was from where he was. So like I don't think the actual where you're actually from has that difference anymore. It's just that case. It's just a case of like I don't know. I don't know if it's just if we just prefer to do things by ourselves or what it is or whatever it is. But that's one thing the US scene definitely has a speed in, is that sense of community and is that kind of collaboration.
That's fair enough. What's your aim as a producer to get done in 2021 that you didn't get done last year?
2021. I actually had a notes list of my 2021 goals. My big thing was 3 major placements. I got 1 this year so far, so I'm looking for 2 more. But I kind of halfway through that kind of changed. I want to get like a big song every month, like one big song where I can look back in that month and go, I did that month, I did that month. But in terms of actual like goals, that there's not very many that I would that stand out to me other than sounds really being better. Like that, like I said, that kind of idea of just I like that's my big thing is always if I look at a stretch of time, I started off, I want to end higher than I ended it. Be that a day, be that a week, be that a month, be that a year. So it's just that, and that's where the placements kind of play into that as well. It's just constantly pushing. So I don't have any specific goals that are kind of apart from get these songs, get this song, just push. It's kind of my main thing.
It's great to see, as I said earlier on, like it's great to see that like absolute drive to just be the absolute best, like, and it's such a flavor to even hear it coming out of your voice and everything like that, and even seeing it on the screen. Like, did you find it, like, obviously you were saying earlier on that 2020 and having COVID was probably a blessing to you, but did you find it hard to come up with ideas and stuff like that, or was it just like, yeah, let's go, bang, 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 or what?
No, COVID changed absolutely nothing about my workflow, and in fact actually made it better, because apart from like with artists, they usually have to like go outside and maybe find some inspiration in their life. I sit in this room all day every day before COVID. I have been living the exact same life since. So all it's done is like reduced the amount of time I actually needed to spend outside. So I'm just here all day, just working. So it's, and like I said, and the best thing about that is the loop makers who send me my loops are also in the exact same situation. So I'm just like my speeds are just going up and up and up. It's been it's been a blessing for me, really.
I'm delighted that it's been a blessing for you to kind of make so much music and stuff like that. Like, I know a lot of, even as you said, like some of the rappers and artists that we have here on the island that they had, like, it was a bit of like, they got into a bit of a stump, they hit a wall and stuff like that in terms of making music. And it's great to hear that you were just like, yeah, I did nothing. It didn't even faze me, it might be a bit of a show off, but sure, look. But like, it's great to see that it just didn't affect you, and like you're coming out with more heat as the days go by, and you're still trying to improve yourself, which is just, it's amazing to hear. Like, as much as I'll say it on this show here, like, it's amazing to hear that like attitude towards it, because I know that some people might not be able to EQ a certain sample or something like that, and it's like, oh my god, I'm going to give up because I want to use this sample so much, like it's my baby, it's my precious, like, and it's just not working, like. And I can see that, like, for you it doesn't even seem like it would be even an issue Do you know, it seems like that. I was like, if I couldn't do it, I'm gonna try and do it because it's gonna make me feel better and or make it better for me. And you know, your experience goes up and stuff like that. And it's great to see that. We're gonna wrap it up quite shortly, but is there anything you want to kind of plug before we kind of end the show?
Plug. No, I don't got much. I got my boys. I got Samuel, Tiki, Cormac. That's like my main crew when it comes to like music, and we always work together. But like my loop makers, like Magnolia, Yizo, Ceres, Patchface, just the boys. I'm missing a lot of people because I think something like 50 folders. Synthetic, God, that man has sent me 40 gigs of samples. He's ridiculous. But I don't got much to plug. I just got all these artists I work with. I'm not even going to start naming artists because I think I've worked with over 100 artists. But I've just got there's just so many people around me who are just ridiculously talented, who are ridiculously like just amazing people to work with, to be around. I just want to say thank you to them, especially the artists that make stuff easy. I have one artist, I'm going to shout him up by name, young man Derek, because there'll be some days or like a week, I'll hit a Monday, we might not have talked in a while, and I'll just get I hope you have a good day today. And it's just like stuff like that. Just those artists who like become friends are the best. I love them.
So I think it's a humble plug that you're giving there. And I think anyone who works with you I think it's going to be great, whatever you make with them. And I know it's going to be fire and stuff like that. We're going to wrap it up here on the Heatcast. For everyone watching on YouTube and everyone listening on Spotify, make sure to follow us on Instagram. And if you would like to support the show, make sure to donate to our Patreon. Link is in the description, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hey, yo, did you see that?
Trying to cop a bands, fuck them all if I get it wrong.